The Indiana Fever are planning to ship Caitlin Clark to the Los Angeles Sparks. I expect UCLA coach Corey Close to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks. Corey Close, after that championship game that she won with the UCLA Bruins, she's been very adamant. She's been very upfront. Yeah, all this transfer portal stuff, I'm not really sure if
In women's basketball, she is the most well-known figure. The WNBA's most watched player ever. An entire league is brought into prime music, time by a single cultural phenomena. And there are serious folks with significant connections who are murmuring that Indiana is prepared to let her go right now. The headline isn't clickbait. That isn't a rumor made up by someone who has too much idle time and a laptop. There are layers to that story, including tensions in the confined locker room. The entire sports world stopped scrolling as a bench scene went viral. An NBA insider made a shocking post, and there was a secret meeting in Los Angeles. So take a moment to comprehend this before you swipe over it. We are not merely discussing a single individual moving to a different city. We are discussing a whole league's future. Perhaps the most significant storyline the WNBA has ever created is the question of who controls the biggest star in women's basketball and where she ends up in music. This channel features stories just like this, so if you're new here, click the subscribe button right now. Beneath the carefully crafted press statements, the official talking points, and music, there are the diplomatic non-answers. Let's get started now. It began with a brief, uncut, entirely music, unremarkable bit of sideline film that managed to convey a whole narrative in less than 30 seconds. Sitting on the bench was Caitlin Clark, the star of the Indiana Fever, the player who made it impossible to find WNBA tickets, and the subject of a marketing effort by the league. Her jaw was clenched, her eyes were forward, and her body language was clear. That particular kind of stillness that only happens when someone is working very hard not to react. After making a comment, head coach Stephanie White motioned for Raven Johnson to take Clark's seat. Clark shook his head slowly and deliberately in response. That was all. That was the time. Maybe 13 seconds. Just a head shake, no big confrontation, no rising voices. However, millions of people watched that head shake. Because everyone seeing the footage was interpreting it in the same way, it spread quickly, faster than nearly anything this team has produced on the court this season. There's a problem. It's not incorrect in the sense that rival sports teams sometimes fight. It's incorrect in a sense that implies a more serious break that can't be completely healed with a post-game hug. Damage control for the Fever was quick and well-organized. The media was informed by Stephanie White that nothing was seen. It was two competitive individuals who both wanted to win, according to Clark herself as she approached the podium. The music was played with practice calm, and the party line was obvious and consistent. The problem with public denials in the social media era is as follows. The query is already 3 cycles ahead of the denial when it arrives. Furthermore, whether or not Clark and White had fought was not the question that everyone was now posing. The inquiry concerned the extent of the conflict and whether it had already permeated not just 2 people, but the entire Indiana Fever organizational culture. Almost instantly, the meticulously crafted, nothing to see here story began to break, and the crack originated inside the structure. Music, during an appearance on a podcast, Sophie Cunningham, one of the roster's more forthright personalities, casually revealed an information that most people ignored, but should not have.
Steph and Cece are 2 very competitive people who just want to win. And sometimes you bump heads. But it was all out of like good intent of wanting the same thing. And like at the end of the day, like we were not playing good. I'm not condoning her actions. Like I think there's room to grow in how you respond to things, but she would say the same thing, and her and Steph are fine. And, that's like their relationship. And, you know, later that night or the next morning, they hugged it out and they talked about it. Like when you are in high competitive situations, pretty much 4 days out of the week. Like, stuff is going to happen. But like I said, our stuff is just under a microscope, and everything you do, everything you say is going to be a highlight reel for somebody. And I think media loves to create division where there's not all.
In the wake of consecutive defeats, she acknowledged that the squad had convened what she called a long discussion. She presented it in a tactful manner. According to her, Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark are very competitive individuals who sometimes clash since they have similar goals. She said that they had reconciled, that they had hugged each other, and that everything was well. However, carefully read that again. The relationship is not robust, according to her. The dressing room is not unified, according to her. They're all right, she said. The way issues are handled may be improved, she added. Not every disagreement is what the media portrays it to be, she said, and everything gets scrutinized. She also confirmed the lengthy encounter, so all of it is probably genuine. The friction was confirmed by her. Unintentionally, she verified that the official account and the real story are not exactly the same.
That's nothing new, but I just think everyone expects us to like leave off of where we were last year. And yes, we have like some of the same players as last year, but we also have so many new players that are playing huge minutes for us. And I think it just takes a second to, get rhythm and chemistry and trust each other. Like, I think this is very normal team things, but we have to like do it sooner than later. Like it's everyone's a little frustrated with how we're playing because we all know we're better than it. But I think sometimes you need this type of stuff in order to get to like the root of the problem of whatnot. And then
after 2 losses, successful teams don't have lengthy emergency meetings. Genuinely united teams don't have to announce their unity in public. The sheer act of meticulously protecting the relationship implies that it was necessary to do so. Subsequently, the rumor machine shifted into an entirely new mode. June 3rd. Mark that date with a circle. Thompson Michael. Michael Thompson, the father of 4-time NBA champion Klay Thompson and a longtime color commentator for the Los Angeles Lakers radio broadcast, posted something on the platform that was formerly known as Twitter that instantly, completely froze every area of basketball social media. This was not some anonymous account or a former player turned podcaster with a grudge. The Indiana Fever no longer want Caitlin Clark, he wrote, citing a trustworthy source. He suggested that the Los Angeles Sparks go after her. Then, an hour later, he doubled down, wrote once again, acknowledged that he was hearing the same thing, and publicly defended it with his name connected on a platform that millions of basketball fans were seeing in real time. The response was enormous and fast, because Michael Thompson doesn't engage in this kind of activity. He is not using controversy to enhance his brand. He is well established in the Los Angeles basketball world, has a steady media career, and has no motivation to make up a narrative that could cause him professional embarrassment if it turns out to be untrue.
Much to me, Michael Thompson comes out and says, I'm hearing from a reliable source, the Fever don't want Caitlin no more. Sparks, go get her now. And unless he comes out and says he's trolling, I'm taking this as face value. I'm taking this as serious. I'm not taking this as clickbait at all. I do believe he has reliable sources. I do believe he has sources within the WNBA. I do believe he has sources within the Los Angeles Sparks. And I do believe it's been floated by him the same way that things have been floated by Dan Dockage. I believe it's been floated by Michael Thompson.
The sports world does not collectively shrug when someone with his reputation and connections claims to be receiving information from a trustworthy source. It is attentive. Through back channels, the Indiana Fever organization pushed back, claiming that Clark is untouchable and that the trade rumors were untrue. However, the topic continued despite the league office's utter silence and the Fever's purposefully ambiguous and well-crafted denial. If anything, it sped it up. Now, here is where the stories shift from drama into something far more strategic and far more unsettling. If you're a fan of Indiana, the Fever went to Los Angeles to play the Sparks on May 13th. Prior to that game, Caitlin Clark was in an exceptionally strong mental state. She spoke to reporters with a lightheartedness that had been absent for much of the season. She grinned. She felt at ease. 87-78, the Fever prevailed. Additionally, Clark had one of her best outings in weeks, scoring 24 points and dishing out 9 assists. What is said to have occurred off the court was not included in the box score. During that trip to Los Angeles, Clark reportedly had a private discussion with people associated with the Sparks organization, according to several unapproved sources. This was a type of quiet, informal conversation that occurs when a player, whether intentionally or not, begins to consider what life might be like elsewhere. It was neither a formal meeting nor a sit-down approved by the league. Another week of conjecture could have been sparked by that detail alone. However, Michael Thompson from Los Angeles later submitted his assertion. Suddenly, each piece of the puzzle began to fit together to form an unmistakable image. Clark's best friend and former Iowa College teammate, Kate Martin, had recently signed a contract with the Sparks. Already on the roster is Cameron Brink, a young versatile center with the ability to protect the rim and stretch the field. All of a sudden, Clark's surroundings, comfort items, and well-known faces were no longer in Indiana. Southern California was where they were. The basketball community is constantly debating whether that is a coincidence or a tactic. Everyone in the sport is completely aware of this topic, but no one in the mainstream sports media will have it directly. There is a market issue facing the WNBA. A true sports city is Indianapolis. The Fever have a sizable fan base. Due in great part to Clark's presence, the audiences this season have been unprecedented. However, Indianapolis is not Los Angeles. It's not New York. Additionally, having your most marketable player in a mid-sized Midwestern market creates structural friction in a league that is frantically attempting to expand its national footprint, media deals, international reach, and overall cultural footprint. In comparison, music is everything in Los Angeles. It is the nation's second biggest city. It is a worldwide brand. It is the global center of entertainment, where athletes become celebrities and celebrities become more than just athletes. In particular, the Sparks simply become a much more intriguing team. Due to their involvement in the larger LA sports ecosystem, the ownership group that purchased the Los Angeles Lakers, the same organization associated with the Los Angeles Dodgers, now has financial ties to the Sparks. Crypto.com Arena is the result. Dodgers, music money, that is. This implies that a WNBA might be aligned with one of the world's most potent sports infrastructure networks. Franchise. You are not creating a basketball team if you put Caitlin Clark in that setting. You are creating a worldwide media enterprise. One of the most outspoken supporters of WNBA player compensation and league growth in sports history is Commissioner Adam Silver. Kathy Angelberg, the commissioner of the WNBA, has been actively searching for new markets, deals, and opportunities to raise the league's profile. They wouldn't have to violate any regulations, compel a trade, or arrange a backdoor agreement. All they would have to do is create an environment where the market corrects itself and the most marketable player is eventually drawn to the largest platform due to its financial gravity. This is how leagues have always operated. A mandate is not always necessary. Sometimes all you need is momentum. Take a moment to set aside the controversy and observe what the Indiana Fever season has truly looked like. The club had high expectations going into this season. They have new players, returning players, and the potential to be a serious contender, but a string of defeats, an urgent team meeting, a viral tense moment between their head coach and franchise player, and now a series of trade rumors have resulted in something the Fever's front office did not anticipate: a real issue with credibility. In response to the slow start, Caitlin Clark stated in public that it takes time to establish rapport with new players, that a team's rhythm and trust do not simply transfer from one season to the next, and that everyone in the building knows they are capable of more than what they have demonstrated. That's a mature, measured response. Additionally, there are several ways to interpret this response. They are not playing to their maximum, since the subtext is obvious. The surroundings are not ideal. Playing below your potential in an uncertain atmosphere is not a long-term agreement you just swallow, especially for a player of Clark's quality who entered this league with the kind of cultural momentum seldom seen at this level of the sport. The front office of the Fever openly maintains that everything is all right, publicly maintains that Clark's song is unavailable, demonstrate in public that the noise is just noise. However, in professional sports, the teams that have to publicly maintain that everything is okay are rarely the ones where everything is. Here, let's be exact. There hasn't been a formal trade offer. No agreement has been reached. The fact that Caitlin Clark is being extensively shopped has not been corroborated by any reliable beat reporter. This is what has occurred. Someone with genuine connections and a legitimate platform made a public statement and stood by it. A player apparently had a casual conversation in a city that would be very beneficial to her career. Without intending to, a teammate confirmed internal conflict. An ownership structure in Los Angeles has subtly established itself as one of the most alluring landing locations in the league, and a coaching scenario that seemed steady has grown obvious problems. That is not insignificant. That is the structure of how these circumstances arise. Silently at first, then abruptly, in a way that would entirely surprise a casual viewer. Whether a trade occurs tomorrow or next week is not the true question. Whether the prerequisites for a trade have already been established is the true question. The people who know are keeping quiet about whether the strain in Indiana, the opportunity in Los Angeles, and the league's own market interests have come together to make a relocation not only feasible, but eventually nearly likely. Music, it's possible that the speakers are not fully informed. The future of the largest name in women's basketball is being discreetly and carefully determined somewhere in between those two realities. The story can conclude in a few different ways. The Indiana Fever correct whatever is wrong with that locker room in the original edition. White and Clark establish a productive working rhythm that results in victories. The club begins to play like the contender everyone anticipated when the chemistry clicks. As the cacophony subsides, the entire episode is written off as a difficult part of a lengthy season. The tension is still simmering in the second edition. The outcomes remain inconsistent. The club eventually decides to put long-term organizational health ahead of the short-term optics of being perceived as a destination for the top talent in the game, whether this trade window or the next, as the whispers become more frequent and credible. Caitlin Clark subtly expresses her desire for a change of scenery in the third rendition, which is the one that keeps league executives and marketers up at night. Not loudly, not in public, and not in a way that would ruin anyone's reputation. Music, just clearly enough so those in charge of making judgments can see where things are going. Indianapolis then turns into a formality. What is she worth? Becomes the query instead of, is she available? And in Los Angeles, where Cameron Brink already has one of the strongest ownership structures in sports ready to take on the financial burden of the